What's everybody doing today? It's rainy. It's ugly out. Like, I don't know where you're from. What the heck is going on my feed? Hey, Alfred. Oh, well, no. I don't know what's on there. Is there like a thing on the middle? Jeff, is there like a weird thing on the front? Anyway, what's everybody doing today? It's raining. I'm freezing. I don't know where you're from. Drop me a message where you live. I'm in Southern California and it's freezing. I mean, I don't even really want to drink the coffee. I'm just like holding it. Hey, Malik. So, I have my slippers on. You want to see them? Can you guys see those? I know it's so sad trying to put your feet up on the counter. I'm going to make, I'm doing sourdough bread today. So, I'm not going to teach you how to do it because it's like a 3-day process. Maybe I'll make my meatballs later too. I think I'll make my meatballs. I had a hard time getting out of bed this morning. I don't know about you guys, but I was just cold. So anyway, do you know what sourdough bread is? Do you understand about sourdough bread? It's something new to me. And the thing about sourdough bread is it doesn't have yeast added. It's a naturally fermented bread. So if you have like a bad tummy or you get sick on bread like I do, TMI, it doesn't bother your stomach as much because you're naturally fermenting it. And so basically, let me move my coffee. You start out with a starter, and you got to get one from somebody you know, or you can make one. But can you see how active and bubbly that is in there? So your starter's alive, literally. It has kind of a yeasty, fermented, kind of sour smell like fermented food does. You have to feed it every week. It's like a pet. And so mine is Phil Kessel. I'm a hockey fan, and so he's a Penguin from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's kind of chubby, which I call him the foodie penguin or the chubby penguin. And so my starter, my sourdough starter, Phil Kessel, is hungry, so I have to remember to feed him every week, or he'll die. So if you have sourdough starter from someone, feed it every week. You don't have to bake every week, but you have to feed it. And you feed it with flour and water and yada, yada, yada. Then what happens is you make a levain, and it's kind of this spongy, doughy, kind of gelatinous looking stuff, and that's what you use to make the bread. So it's a 3-day process. You feed your starter, you let it ferment, you make a levain, you let that ferment, you mix all your stuff together, you make your dough. Your dough has a bulk fermentation that takes 4 hours of turning it every 20 to 30 minutes, literally. So this dough is ready to be made into, what is that, Elmer glue? I know, it's weird. So I have my black glove in here, and I just leave it off to the side just so that I can come in and turn it every 20 minutes. And you're just gonna do 8 turns, but can you see how fluffy? See all the bubbles in it? Hey, Judy, see all the bubbles? What's the weather like where you're at, you guys? Drop me a message. I wanna know what your weather's like. We are like literally raining, and it's dark, and it's, I'm cold. Anyway, so you can see all the bubbles going on in this, these naturally fermenting, see? Pop. See? 50. Oh, well, that's like, I don't even know that it's 50 here. It's cold here. Anyway, I'm in Southern California. So what you're doing, the bulk fermentation is just a naturally fermenting process, and you're going to turn it. See, these gloves are huge on me. They just like literally fall off. Hey, Vinny, major snow. Yeah, Crestline, it's overcast, it's rainy, it's cold. Flip-flops for you guys, huh? Okay, so you're just gonna turn this, my glove keeps falling off. I have to hold my glove. Hey, Packy. And you're just gonna do 8 turns with that, and you do that every 20 to 30 minutes for a total of 4 hours. So sourdough bread is a labor of love, literally. Because you're talking 3 days of stuff that you have to do work on it for 3 days. So I'm gonna bake today. So the bread's ready to be baked. I'm gonna turn it out onto my floured counter. I installed marbles so that I can just, bake right on it. And then I'm gonna roughly form it into my shapes, and then I'm gonna put them in these baskets to give them the shape. And then you cook them, unlike other bread that you cook open. Sourdough likes to have a steaming process. So I use a Lodge combo cooker. So I don't know if you guys have one, but these are great. You can get them on Amazon. You want to preheat them like 500 degrees, super, super hot. Once they've gone through all their process and they're ready to be baked, you turn them out. You're going to slit them, and then you put them in here for like 20 to 30 minutes steaming, and then you remove the lid, and then they bake the rest of the time. So literally, hey Packy, yeah, right? Come on over. We can have coffee and hang out and have bread. It's a labor of love, but the flavor of sourdough is unlike anything else. It has such a beautiful flavor. And it's an artisan style bread. So if you're not familiar, it's not gonna have like a really soft crust. It comes out, it looks burnt. The first few times you make it, you feel like you burned your loaf. In fact, I posted pictures and people were like, oh, did it get burnt? No, that's what it's supposed to look like. It has a very crunchy outer shell. The crust is beautifully formed. Then when you cut it open, you see all the bubbles and all the, you know, the natural fermenting dough makes this great pattern in the bread. And on a sandwich, I mean, it's the best. Sourdough bread is my like kryptonite. I love it with butter. I love it on sandwiches. I love sourdough anything. Sourdough donuts are great. You can take the leftover levain and make pancakes with it. I make pizza dough. This is what I make my pizza dough out of. And you can make it out of the bread as well. But I usually bake, you know, this is 2 loaves. And it's 3 days worth of work, you guys. It is, you know, if you have a big family, I would double it. Because you're going through so much work, you may as well make 4 loaves or 2 loaves and a couple pizzas or whatever. It makes the best pizza crust, by the way. Make sure you're using good quality products, yada, yada, yada. But it's a labor of love, but it's worth it. So every week when I feed my starter, my Phil Kessel, if you're just tuning in, it has a real bubbly, and it's cold, you keep it in your fridge. Every week when I feed it, then I go ahead and make it into the levain that then turns into the bread 3 days later. And then I'm gonna bake it today. So again, homemade sourdough, it's a lot of work. A lot of people are like, I'd love some starter. I'm happy to give you some starter, no problem. Just be aware that you don't just stick it in your fridge. It's not just gonna sit in there and hang out and then you feel like making bread 3 weeks later or a month later or whatever. It's gonna be okay. Most likely it's gonna be dead. So if you're interested in doing sourdough bread, I suggest you look up Tartine style sourdough. That's what I'm making. There's Tartine for Dummies on YouTube that you can look at. It's a very like lengthy process. Again, it's once you learn it, it's a lot of measuring. You know, you're weighing everything. So you need to get a scale and you're gonna weigh. You're not gonna measure. You're gonna weigh. So it's all in grams. But it's delicious. I mean, it's like to make your own sourdough bread. It's like you feel like a rock star. You're like, oh my gosh, I made these loaves. And you can get, you know, you get more creative. I'm still learning, so like, you know, but it's like, I'm kind of artsy. So to me, it's like working with the dough and forming it and using your hands, even though I like to use the glove. It just feels like artsy. And then you create this beautiful dough that only tastes better than it looks. And you feel like, wow, I did this. I actually made bread. And I'm a person, I know you guys know me from my foodie videos and TV and all that stuff. I love food, I love to cook, but baking is something I've never been into. Why? Because it's so accurate. I don't measure stuff when I cook. I just like approximate, you know, it's like approximate. It's like, oh, that's about a cup, this is this, this is this. But baking is very precise. Thus, why you want a scale and you want to be able to measure or weigh everything on there. You put a glass bowl in there, you zero it out, and you're just, you know, measuring everything via the scale. You're weighing it. And then you get this beautiful product, and bread is sensitive. So like if it's really humid, it's going to be different than if it's dry. If it's colder out in the winter versus in the summer when it's warm, it's going to have a different fermentation process. Every time I make it, it's different. It's a live animal doing its own thing, but it is fun to experiment. So if you are interested, again, go to YouTube and just Google in or search in Tartine, T-A-R-T-I-N-E, Tartine style sourdough, the Tartine baker in San Francisco. There's a lot of tutorials on it. There's a lot of videos on it. It's just super, super lengthy. So be sure you want to be committed to do that. But it's fun. I like it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start baking my bread, and maybe I'll check in later. I think maybe I'll make, people have been asking about my meatballs. Maybe I'll make some meatballs later. Who knows? When it's rainy like this and I'm stuck in the house and I've got my socks on and I'm just chilling out, I could be cooking 500 things. Who knows? But I'll probably pop on later, and stay dry wherever you're at. Be careful. Try not to be on the roads. And if you are interested in making sourdough, again, look on YouTube. Not on my page. Go to look up Tartine style sourdough, and there's lots of tutorials and videos on how to do it. You can also drop me a message below. I'm happy to help you out. But it's one of those things that once you do it, you're going to be glad, because the flavors. And anybody local, you want to pop by, it's all good. I'll give you a slab of hot sourdough bread with some butter. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll probably pop on in a little bit. I'll see ya. Bye.